Hi loners, welcome back to my channel. It's Dawn Danielle here at Solo Soul, and today we are talking about the land of the mouse. We are going to Disney World. So, I went to Disney World for the very first time, all by myself, completely solo for over 12 hours. And I am ready to give you the Disney lowdown. Everything you need to know, tips, tricks before you go. So, if you are worried about going solo, the biggest advice I have to you is do not be. Everyone is so self-absorbed in their own happiness and vacation and having the most magical time possible, or making the most magical time possible for their family and friends, that they don't care you're alone. They're not gonna notice. You're not gonna care you're alone. You're gonna be so busy, you are going to completely forget you are alone. I promise you that. And so the only place I would say you would really notice you are by yourself is when you're waiting in line and have your phone ready, you know, have something to do, maybe download an audiobook, download Netflix or a movie to watch. The lines can go up to 2 hours wait time and more. So you can actually watch television or listen to an audiobook to distract yourself. That is my honest truth. I know there's a huge social stigma behind going to a place like an amusement park by yourself, especially when there are family and friends and tour buses and groups and children and couples and everyone is everywhere, but you're gonna blend right in. Disney's a very exhausting experience. I promise you, it didn't seem like anybody had the time to pay attention that you are alone. If someone's staring at you, they're probably disassociating at the park, or they've lost their kid and they wanna know if you've seen them. If you're like me and you just want to check out Disney World for the very first time, I was only considering 2 ticket options. That is the 1 day, 1 park option or ticket, which is basically for the whole day you stay in 1 park. I was going to do that. It's the cheapest option. It's the most basic ticket, but I was worried that I would pick a park, get there, hate it, and then I had to spend the rest of the day there, or I would get through the park really fast and then I wanted to go somewhere else, but I couldn't. So I chose the 1 day park hopper option. For those of you who don't know, there are 4 parks at Disney World, and with this ticket, that means that for the whole day, you are allowed to bounce through any of the 4 parks if you have the energy, stamina, and childhood spirit to get you through that, because that's going to be exhausting. But it is possible. There are different transportation methods that go through each of the parks. So once you get to one of them, you're able to basically go to all of them. So you have Magic Kingdom. That's the one you probably see the most, with the huge Cinderella castle in the background. You have Hollywood Studios, which is, I've been told this is better for teens and adults. It's more of this like vintage old-timey vibe, and it has some really cool rides there as well. You have Epcot, which is more of an exploration park. There are rides there, but a lot of the times they have festivals there, events, all sorts of cool stuff, and it's a very beautiful, cool place to walk around. And then you have Animal Kingdom, which I'm sorry for those of you who are taking an interest in it. I will not be going to this park. Personally, I don't think it just interests me, and I've heard from others, do not get mad at me, that it's basically a glorified zoo. Don't quote me, don't do it. Be mindful that those 1 day tickets do not include the water park at Disney World. For first timers, you also should know that every single Disney ticket comes with something that's called Fast Pass. That is basically your pass to cut the line 3 times in any 1 park in a day. So I would suggest booking them as soon as you can. Basically, this allows you to cut the line 3 times. You want to cut the line. The lines are very long. It's basically ensuring that 3 rides, you are going to ride at least 3 rides at your day at Disney, because you get to jump in front of the line. The way it works, you select a time, so it might say like 6 o'clock, 6:40, but it's an hour time gap. So if I select the 6 o'clock time, it's actually any time between 6 and 7, I have to be at that Fast Pass line to ride the ride and swipe my card against the machine so I can get on the Fast Pass ride. So make sure you schedule your rides appropriately. Don't try to, schedule one at 7 and then one at 7:15 and then one at 7:30 and they're all around the park. Make sure you're scheduling it wisely. Look at the map on where the rides are and give yourself enough time to get to each ride and make sure you're there. Rumor has it you're allowed to use your fast pass 5 minutes before your time. So if you have a ride scheduled at 6, you show up to the fast pass line, it's 5:55, you're allowed to swipe and go in. And don't quote me on it, but some people are saying 15 minutes after, there's still this grace period. So if you miss your time slot, you're running, you're trying to get to your fast pass ride, and it ends at 7 and it's 7:10, rumor has it you can still get on. Do not quote me on that. Do not message me telling me I ruined your Disney vacation because you didn't get to ride Space Mountain. That's what I read online. But FastPass is really cool. You basically just swipe your card. That's another thing I forgot to mention. If you get the mobile ticket, when I first arrived to Disney, I had the barcode on my phone and I went through the gate and it wasn't letting me through because the barcode wasn't showing. If this is your very first time at Disney, I highly suggest going to the ticket counter and talking to somebody because they are going to give you a card, an actual plastic card you can carry. And that's going to be your entry to all the parks, and it's also going to have your fast pass selections on there. So when you're ready to ride your fast pass rides, all you do is swipe. You can also get very detailed maps on all the parks and their information. And you can get this cute little button that says it's your very first time at Disney. I made a short list of essentials I think you should bring into the park. You are allowed to bring food, snacks, and sealed drinks and a full water bottle. So I brought myself a big water bottle that I was able to refill in the park. Lots of little Kool-Aid jammers, Capri Sun kind of drinks that I could sip on real quick and toss in one of the trash cans. And then I did not pack a lunch, but I brought lots and lots of snacks. I also brought lots of fresh fruit. I brought 2 backup battery chargers plus cables because your phone is going to die. It's a very long day if you're staying the whole time at the park, and if you're doing a lot of recording, your phone battery is going to go pretty fast. A small sweat rag to clean your hands and face, and then actual wipes so you have a moist wipe to clean with. Hand sanitizer. Spare clothes you don't necessarily need. I would suggest bringing a jacket for the end of the night if you're viewing the fireworks show because it might be a little bit chillier. And then a poncho. I highly recommend a poncho for Splash Mountain. Some people say you get anywhere from a few drops to completely soaked. I will be completely honest with you, if there was any one moment in the park that I felt awkward as a solo traveler, it's when I was pulling out my, dollar poncho out my bag and everyone else was like, oh no, we're too good for ponchos, we're gonna get soaked. But I did not want to walk around with sopping wet shoes and socks for the rest of the day. You might feel awkward standing in line and being the only one putting a poncho on, but I promise you, when you get off that ride, you are going to thank me because there are going to be people around you who probably got soaked, and later they might be saying they wish they put on the poncho that they already brought. If you want to get wet, then totally go for it. Personally, I just wanted to stay dry because I still had another ride I wanted to go on, and I didn't want to be wet during the firework display. So. If you are too prideful to wear a poncho, but you do not want to get wet, then I do suggest bringing a spare pair of clothes. Otherwise, you should just be fine in the outfit you're wearing. Just don't wear anything too hot or suffocating. There are people walking around Universal Studios in their full Harry Potter robes, and it is 90 to 100 degrees. If they can do it, whatever you will wear will be fine. You'll be good to go. Getting between the actual parks should not be an issue. There are buses, trams, monorails, and ferry boats. The last thing you might be wondering is, if I do the one-day park hopper option, Realistically, how many parks will I be able to see and enjoy? If you are going to one park, you will be fine. Don't even get the park hop option, obviously. Go for the one day, one park, because you are going to get the fully immersive experience. Two parks, I would just say, choose what ride you want to go on each park. Schedule your fast passes for one and then decide what ride you want to go on in the other park if you want to go on any. Maybe set a time for yourself on when you're actually going to leave the first park to go to the second. That way you don't get caught up and find yourself lost in the first park, or getting distracted and that you don't have enough time to explore the second. But I think ideally, if there are two parks you would like to go to, the Park Hopper Pass would be great, because you can still probably get a really nice immersive experience in both parks, see a lot, ride a few rides, eat some good food, and not feel like it was this rushed, frantic experience. If you want to be like me and do 3 parks, I'll be completely honest with you. It's a lot, it's exhausting. It was great because I wanted to go to Disney World for the first time and I wanted to see as much as I could in a day, but it's a lot to do. You need a lot of childhood spirit and energy and stamina, like I was saying, to get to the parks, and you need to schedule your times well. You are not going to be able to ride every single ride. You are not going to be able to fully explore every inch and corner and crevice of the park. You're going to have to decide what you want to do. Be very specific about it. Pick your times. Set designated times on when you're going to leave each park, and plan out very, very well. This is going to be even more difficult if you have any time constraints. Each park every night has their own show, and then of course throughout the day they have their own specialties and things and shows going on and all sorts of events. So if you are now trying to do 3 parks in a day and have time constraints, you are going to have a lot up your sleeve, so you need to plan accordingly. That said, trying to do all 4 parks in one day with the Park Hopper option, I would just say impossible. It's possible, obviously you can go to all 4, but I think it's going to be a stressful and exhausting experience. You're gonna cheat yourself out of a lot to see in all the parks, and you're not gonna actually be enjoying yourself. You're just kind of going to be rushing through this to-do list for 4 parks. So ideally, 4 parks is not practical, and even then 3 parks is a lot to do. The Park Hopper option is great for 2 parks, or if you've been to Disney World before and you've seen a lot of this already, then hopping between the parks because you already know the setup and what you want to go on. But if you're going for the first time and you're doing the Park Hopper, I would say safely you can aim for 2 parks, and if you're feeling bold and daring and you have a lot of energy, you can do 3. Lines are very long. That is a big con. The park can be very, very busy. You're gonna have a stroller probably run over your toe a few times. You're gonna have people bump into you. They're not gonna be paying attention where they're going. And can we please talk about the fact that when people get to malls and amusement parks and any public, crowded space, everyone forgets how to walk. It's insane. It's like their eyes glaze over and they just kind of start drifting everywhere. And then they stop randomly in the middle of the sidewalk, knowing there are people behind them trying to get past, and they just stop. And then they turn and they all change directions. I also want to say that if you have any type of special needs or circumstances, or your family does, do not be afraid to bring in anything that's allowed that might help accommodate your visit or stay at the park. I saw one kid, he was wearing headphones. Often those are used to suppress sensory overload, and that way if there's influx of noise, just loud noises, overwhelming commotion, that person might be agitated by it. It might set them off, it might make them uncomfortable, and that way they don't have to hear it. So that was actually very nice to see that the kid was able to have his own thing that made him comfortable and adjust to his needs. That way he can enjoy the park on his comfort level. That said, Do whatever makes you comfortable, keeps you safe, and lets you enjoy the park without being overwhelmed, because it is a lot. I can't judge too much off one trip, but it does seem like people are lacking some manners. I won't say everybody, but like I said, everyone's self-absorbed in their own vacation, their own happiness. And in all fairness, Disney is very stressful. I sympathize with any caregivers or parents who are watching after kids, or anyone for that matter, and everyone's just so excited to go, run up to the next character, go to this next ride. This is their childhood. This is the things we get excited about when we think about our childhood. So to be young and in that park and experiencing that, of course it's going to be chaos. So you have tired parents, you have excited parents, you have tired children, you have excited children, all sorts of people from all walks of life just trying to enjoy the park. So it is a lot, but if you are able to kind of adjust to a little bit and just try to give yourself the most comfortable stay and visit ever, usually that'll help. Just stay within your comfort boundary. Don't try to do too much, push yourself too much, don't overexhaust yourself, and I think you will be okay. My most off-putting moment at Disney World was at Magic Kingdom during the fireworks show, or more specifically after the fireworks show. Like I said, I don't sugarcoat my travel, so I want to be completely honest with you. Being solo all day in Disney, it did feel like it was much more manageable than if I was with a group of friends or family, or everybody's trying to please, everyone in the group, or run here or do this, and it sounds like it'd be chaos. I know people do it, kudos to you. At the end of the day, I went to the Happily Ever After fireworks show in Magic Kingdom. Like I said, all 4 parks have their own separate, nightly show, and each are respectable in their own accord. But of course, I think the Magic Kingdom fireworks show is the most popular. It was absolutely beautiful. I even got a little emotional because it was just like, bam, childhood, bam, nostalgia. And I was just like sitting there but the fireworks show is hectic. If you are claustrophobic, you don't want to be rubbing against anybody, you don't want crowds pushing up on you, it might be a difficult experience just because everyone swarms to basically the Cinderella Castle and the area surrounding the Cinderella Castle. And all the workers are trying to cram everybody in, because there's only so much space and there's hundreds of people at this park, and some people are sitting, some people are standing, people are getting shifted around, there's strollers, there's groups of kids. It's hectic. There are so many crowds trying to see this fireworks show. And so the strangest moment for me was when everyone was watching this beautiful fireworks show, and they were looking up in awe, and they were being dazzled, and their childhood heart was just exploding with joy. And the show goes on, and the show goes on, and you're just watching this beautiful display of fireworks. And then it ends, because it has to end, because eventually everyone has to go home. And all of a sudden, everyone who was dying to get into the park, into the fireworks show area, they are dying to get out the park. And it is like the slow stampede. I call it the savage shuffle, because everyone's just bustling, and you're gonna have, I'm telling you, if you go to Disney and you don't have a stroller wheel rolled over your foot, I don't believe you went to Disney. Everyone is shuffling out, and it's just so urgent. Everyone has to get out now. Mind you, on some nights, the park doesn't close until 10. Fireworks show ended around 9:30. But everyone's gotta go. They gotta get out of there, and you just have this massive crowd pushing to the front of the entrance, and it's so overwhelming. It's so much sensory input, and if you don't do well with that, the fireworks show might be very hard, because everyone has to get out, and they're all rushing towards the same methods of transportation. Throughout the day, there was this not rushed, but maybe this frenzied energy in all the parks, because you just feel everybody having to go here, having to go there, and so you felt that all day, but it wasn't until the end of the day at the fireworks show specifically where that came in full force. Overall experience, I did enjoy myself. I'm personally not in a rush to go back. I might go back in the future with family or friends, but it was so chaotic that I'm not in a hurry to experience that again. Like I said, they do a really great job of keeping the magic alive. The workers are so happy and smiley and cheery, and everything's in this beautiful little childhood nostalgia bubble. But you also notice tourists everywhere. You're a tourist yourself. Who am I to talk? You know, it's a very touristy vibe. You're noticing the families, the hecticness, the we need to be happy, we need to have the best time ever, you know. You sense that energy in the air a little bit, but you also get to enjoy this, like, if the day is good and your day has been going good, you're able to kind of shut that all out. You're able to pay attention to yourself, what you want to do, and especially if you're solo, just focus on your first time at Disney. That's all I have for you. Check out my other video on my full footage day at Disney World. Other than that, thank you all for watching, and until the next adventure, bye!